What's going on, y'all? This is Czar. I want to show you a really useful way to use templates in Studio One, and that is when you're opening a session from someone else using Studio One, and they have a different I/O setup than what you have. So unfortunately right now, the way Studio One works, we don't have the ability to import and export I/O settings. Hopefully that comes in version 3, but for right now I'm going to show you a way to get around that. The way Studio One works, at least in version 2.6, if someone sends you a Studio One session, and you open it on your system, say someone sent you a session and they use a 4-channel interface and you have an 8-channel interface, because they have a 4-channel interface, just those 4 channels will show up active on your system when you open it up. So the way Studio One works is it saves the I/O setting per session. So because of that, if you open a session from someone else and they have a different I/O settings, their I/O settings will show when you open the session on your system. So to get around that, the way to do is to create a template. I'm not a big template guy, but in this instance, it really saves time because this session was recorded with a inbox, which I believe it has 2 inputs, and I use a Antelope Orion 32, which has 32 inputs. So just a screenshot of my I/O setup is here. 32 channels. I use 8 channels for summing, and 16 channels I send to my 2 lunch boxes to patch in my analog gear. Now, this session from Marco, like I said, is recorded on an inbox, so when I open his I/O settings, I only have 2 inputs. And of course, I need my 32. And so, like I said, the way to do that is to use a template. So once you open up that session from someone, you go back to the start page, and you would, I'm doing this as if we've already created a template, but my template here, Orion 32 template, which is a template I've made, as you've seen in the screenshot, with those I/O settings. Once you open up your template, or let's take it back. Once you got a blank song and you name all your I/O the way you want it, all you have to do is under File, go to Save as Template, and create a template for it. So once you've done that, open up the session that someone gave you, go back to the start page, go to your template, and open that. If you do this often, it should be there in your recent. But once you have the template open, go back to the session that someone sent you, and we're just going to highlight all of the events and right click, copy. I'm going to switch back to your template, right click, and paste. And so now you've now copied from one session over to another. Now I have my same I/O setup that I'm used to working with now set up in this session for me to mix, and it's save a lot of time, because if I didn't do this, I would have to go into the I/O setup and create 32 channels, rename and reroute everything, which is very time consuming. So there you go. It's just a quick tip on using templates in Studio One, and I'll catch y'all next time.